This week we actually want to dip our toe into the water of film noir and have an introduction to it and learn what it's about. So the first thing to know about film noir is it's not its own genre. It's actually a style that encompasses several genres, one of which is gangster films. So you have some gangster films which are noir films, but not all of them. Noir can also encapsulate westerns, horror films, science fiction, and detective films, and we'll see a couple of those when we get to the detective part of the class. So it arose in the 1940s, a little bit later than our gangster film cycle, and has to do a lot with the social events surrounding World War II. It's also focused less on individual gangsters, more on the setup of the crime and the social ramifications. So you're not going to be seeing the rise and fall of one gangster like we did with Scarface or White Heat. It's more about all of the parties involved and how they fit into society as a whole. There's going to be an emphasis on the setting, almost like that's another character of the film, hence the noir title, this dark quality to it. So you've got dark, gritty urban areas, and of course, there are going to be places where bad things are likely to happen. The bad side of town at night, that kind of thing. Once again, it is called noir, which is dark. It's also based on pulp literature from the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, and these echo a lot of the wartime and post-war fears. So we go from World War II, the fear of Germans or Japan, or who's lurking within, to communism a little bit later on. So a lot of those things are echoed in these films. Also, they tend to be a little bit more morally ambivalent. So rather than having this particular message, good is good, bad is bad, it's going to fall into some of the gray areas. So the criminals can be more sympathetic, the detectives and the police might be brutal, or they could even be corrupt. So we're going to see more of that in the noir films than you do in the average gangster films. So this week's film is The Asphalt Jungle from 1950, directed by John Huston, who also directed The Maltese Falcon, and he's what we would refer to as a noir auteur, so he specialized in these films. So this film is about the setup, execution, and unfortunately the failure of a big score. It's a big-time robbery, and of course most of the films you see in Hollywood that deal with crime, the criminals have to fail, so that still happens in here. And we've got the common criminal and law enforcement archetypes, the brains of the operation, and pay attention to the names of the characters in this film because they usually go along with what they do. So you've also got the hooligan or the muscle, the wheelman or the driver, the boxman, the safecracker, the money man, the guy who's got the money, the mole. And mole is not an M-O-L-E, which is a person who's a spy or a little furry animal that lives under the ground. An M-O-L-L, mole, is a gangster's girlfriend. We also have a private eye in this film, and he's one that's quite a bit different from some of the detectives we'll see in the second half of the class. The dirty cop, so we finally got a dirty cop in this film, and the police commissioner. All of these kind of working together to kind of create this dark and dirty situation. So as I mentioned before, this film loses that moral message that bad guys are going to be taken down by the good guys and society will return to how it is. And we've got this kind of gritty realism in this film that's far more interesting. So sometimes the good guys seem not so good. Sometimes the bad guys, you can kind of see where they're coming from. So this is pretty common in noir films. And this film has a good set of sympathetic gangsters, which is a nice change.